How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to talk to you about Spy Family, Season 3, Episode 40, entitled Loid's Memories 2. I just filled in the blanks there, right? Before I go any further, I need you to fill in the blanks and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of more reviews like this one. And you want to support me even further, go ahead and click that Patreon link that's in the description below. Whatever you choose to donate really helps out the channel. Like, sincerely. Whether you like a video, share a video, comment, and subscribe, all those things help. And it just, if you want to do the extra step forward, or a little bit extra, the Patreon helps as well. I don't know if I'm ever going to put content on there to go behind a paywall. If I did, it would have to be limited because I don't like doing that. But I'm trying to make it here. I like doing this. I love doing this, if I'm gonna be honest. And I love talking about these things, especially with a show like this that is very relevant when people are finally waking up to wars and what things do to people. And especially now that a lot of anime focuses on, a lot of real world things, I'm able to merge a lot of the things that I love doing, like talking about social issues and politics and talking about anime. So yeah, but I appreciate everyone that takes the time to watch my videos, sincerely. So thank you. Yes, you. So we're picking up right where we left off. I'm getting a little bit of deja vu because I had to redo this. But that helmet saved Loid's life. Matter of fact, I took a bunch of pictures. One day, see, that's what we doing. That's what we working for with the Patreon. Because one day I'm going to be able to have something better where I can actually just, boom, throw something up there. Which, side note, why is it that TikTok has the best video editor? I've been messing around with it because there's going to be content put on there, but why do other video editors not as good as that? Anyway, yeah, the helmet from The Lie and what he used the 10 dogs for, that crack right there. His face is bloody, legit. You'll actually see it here in this shock face, because when he looks up and asks the old woman what happened, well, this is destroyed and she's more than likely dead. I do like the expressions. That's one of my favorite things that Tetsuya Endo does, is expressions. At least I know they're in the manga, but in the anime, whether it's for comedic effect, horrifying effect, angry effect, just all of the visual expressions, especially Anya's expressions are very, very you can tell when it's silly, mischievous, or even very serious, like we're going to see later on. Excuse me. Pardon me. But yeah, he sees all this destruction and death around him. There's people trying to uncover people, like this woman that says her daughter's still stuck underneath some rubble. A lot of stuff is going on. His mom comes and gets him, and we're presuming his dad to be dead. I say presuming because even though I tried not to do this episode in chronological order, but it's hard not to because of how it ends. So we're going to talk about it, but I'm going to try to squeeze in as much information in as small a time as possible. So it's his dad. What if his dad is alive? Because we find out later that his friends didn't die. More on that later. Really more on that later. What if his dad shows up and either he has amnesia, or if he shows up and Loid remembers him and remembers his old, knows his old name, but in the memories specifically, at least in the anime, he doesn't remember what his parents look like. Even though when we saw his dad's face, his dad's lower jaw looks like him, looks like an adult Loid. So I don't know. Also, I'm gonna assume that his name starts with an L because a lot of his aliases start with L. Loid. What's the guy name that he used in here? Lauren. I forget. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah. So one of the other things, and I like how they're showing this because this is a kid here. His mind is in denial of what's going on because his mom's like, yeah, we're gonna grab some things from the house and we're gonna go to my uncle's in Kielberg. And he's like, well, what about school and the festival? And she's like, do you think any of that is like important right now? You know that, right? And he's looking around at all of it. It's like, yeah. And, he's later on when they're there at their uncle's place and everything's being bombed and he's running to her arms and she's like, I want to go back to Lauren, I want to, maybe dad's come back, maybe other people come back. And he's just wrestling with this. He's wrestling with the fact, he's like, adults are liars, but I'm a liar too because I lied to my dad and I need to apologize. Guilt is heavy in here because he also had guilt for finding this storage depot where his friends were playing, and he thought that they died from that. Which kind of alleviates that guilt. Like this is a tearjerker. This is actually a tearjerking episode, but. He feels guilty about the lie, but the lie kept him alive. One thing I need to remember, because I didn't write this down, and the first recording that you're never going to see, his lies, at least in here, it feels like his lies do lead to good outcomes. Like he lied to his dad, but it saved his life. Him lying about who he is for Operation Strix more or less saved Anya from being an orphan. We know that we know she's has to be some kind of experiment, right? Because of ESP, just like Bond has precognitive abilities from being an experiment. So, and I believe Anya said, "Oh, you're just like me." So, and Loid making this fake family also saved this dog from being possibly euthanized, which also saved a bunch of people from dying. Like, I don't know how it has saved Yor. Maybe it has. I would love to get more backstory on Yor and how she becomes an assassin, because this is basically telling us on how he became a spy. Also interesting note, when I looked at the television, it's crazy because it's in black and white, and I theorized that this is, again, fictional mirror of our Earth, especially with things that have gone on, different wars, right? Different geocides, like, with Gaza and Congo, Sierra Leone, a lot of different stuff, right? Because art imitates life a lot of times, especially, and if this is like fictional 1950s, and Loid is at least somewhere in his early 20s, we know that Yor's at least 26 possibly. I don't feel like looking that up. I will have that information later. But with the type of spy anime that Anya's watching, it's very reminiscent of like a Lupin the Third or something that came out in the 70s. Although I think Lupin the Third come out in 63. I'm going to just stick to 70s. But stuff in the 70s. And color TV was like in the early to mid 60s, I want to say. Because my mother was born in the 1950s. So we've had those conversations. I'm pretty sure like mid to early 60s. So pretty interesting to try to narrow down, because Ostinia and Westalius are obviously somewhere in Europe. It feels like Germany, if we're going to be completely honest, right? At least with Ostinia. At least with how Ostinia acts and a lot of the clothing, right? Even though, the author is Japanese, so there's still some Japanese things with daily life and stuff, but I digress on those things. A lot of sadness going on here. He's very shell shocked because when the bombing happens again, he's crying. And when it seems like, passage of time in here, again, this is someone's memories. So like if you have a dream and you remember things and you recant things, passage of time kind of goes quickly. I can assume that a couple of days have gone by, maybe a couple of weeks have gone by, because we see him out there fishing and there's more children playing, and then the bombing happens again and he's forced to be pulled into a shelter by these other adults, and things seem to calm down, but then more bombing happens and he takes the opportunity to get out. And I don't know who that adult was, but I love the fact that an adult, when he tried to get up, was like, "No, kid, not gonna let anything happen to you, even though I don't know you." And he runs out the moment he can to see the house is burned down. Pretty sure his mom, uncle, and aunt are in there. And we got a flash of this, not just in like trailers, but I feel like in some episode in the past, I think when they had that big bombing incident, I think the one that was with Bond, we might have gotten a hint at this, and we get a hint at Loid's motivations for joining the spy operation. Well, even though he's told he has no choice, but we get an idea of why he's doing it, which I'll again touch on later if I don't forget in the next 5 to 7 minutes. And he grows up, right? He's like, how many years did I spend living like a rat? And we get, oh man, they do so good bringing in, like, we see rats, but let's see a cat chase the rat. Everything I love was stolen from me, and all that he had remaining was hatred. Again, so we come in with the sadness, the guilt, and there's the hatred. And there's a lot of images of war in here. A lot of things that kind of happen in the U.S., people pointing guns at unarmed folks in front of their children and stuff like that. I had plenty of reasons to pick up a gun. That's exactly what he says right there. As a matter of fact, there we go. Lorenz Spoofy. He spends his days literally on top of piles of corpses, wondering like how many thousands, tens of thousands of lives need to be piled up before any of this stuff ends. And in this, we see how he meets Frankie. So he lies, what he's good at, takes the name Lorenz Spoofy, which we find out later is the name of a older man who had died from Lowen that he came from, the place where he came from, right? And so while Loid is sleeping in the forest, got his rifle, we get Frankie, who's running and he's crying. He gets trapped up on one of the traps that Loid set up so he can hear. And classic Frankie. It's just shorter hair, still got that earring, but classic Frankie. And he's like, you're a West Indian soldier. He's like, are you armed? He's like, no, I ran away. I couldn't deal with any of this anymore. So I ran away, but I've been wandering this mountain for 2 days. If you got some food, can you share with me? He's like, there's nothing more wasteful than sharing food with a dead man. I'm like, damn. He's getting ready to shoot him. And Frankie's like, I don't want to die without having been on a date with a woman once. And it just catches him off. He laughs out loud. Like, what? And he's like, look, the most I can do is give you a cigarette. And I love the smoke effects. I didn't take a picture of it, but the smoke effects is nice. Now, I'm going in depth on this part because this is super important. It's a great callback to the last episode. As a matter of fact, Loid remembers a part from the episode where his father was speaking to him. Frankie's on the ground smoking a cigarette, and he tells him the story about a university research project where they show people a guy getting slapped by a woman, just getting slapped, and their brains emphasize with the pain and the discomfort. It means that humans are born with a natural aversion to violence, which is true. I don't believe man's initial nature is violence. Empathy. Those who are without empathy, usually sociopaths, just putting it out there, those who cannot empathize, or even those who cannot sympathize, right? But it's natural. That is a natural part. But then they also showed people a potential reason why person A got slapped. You see a guy cheating on his girlfriend, and then he gets slapped. And when people see that image, they show pleasure. And then here we have, young guy, young lady, old man are the ones watching this. And Frankie goes, isn't that scary though? And he's like, though he doesn't know if the statistics are true. And Loid has a sweat drop because he's kind of like, I'm listening to somebody who's my enemy. I hate these people. I've hated them when I was younger, but I really hate these people because I've lost everyone and everything I love. Why am I listening to this? He's like, what are you getting at? Don't you think all of this is stupid? Like, simply put, the war between East and West is due to diplomacy failing. Why do we simple common folk have to clean up after the mess and the damn mess of a failure that they made? make a lot of good points here, right? Loid says, you Ostinians started the war. He's like, yeah, and we were told you guys started messing with us. They even said the first bombing in Lauren was actually done by your side. And Frankie looks completely like his face is just done. He's like literally just kind of just done with this whole thing. But Loid is getting increasingly angry. This is and again, we've seen moments when Lloyd's about to show extreme anger, especially I go back to that point when the guy made Anya cry. And you see that anger boil up, and he has to not show it on his face, but he did break a table. But, you know, he's like, there's even rumors that another country instigated the Ostinian army. And I actually took pictures of this just to show, like, to me, this is the face of like, I'm over this war shit. I'm over it. As a matter of fact, didn't show you this where he stuck up Frankie, possibly killing him, causing the time paradox. Boop. And then this is our guy, visibly just pissed. And Lloyd's like, yeah, that was a convenient propaganda made. Frankie's like, yeah, dude, I know all this. And young Loid misses the point completely. He's saying, but there's no way for foot soldiers like us to actually know the truth. And Loid tells him the truth. Like, the truth is, my friends, everyone died. I lost everybody. And Frankie goes, yeah, buddy, you and me both. It's like, kicks him in the stomach. You know, telling him, y'all the evil ones, you stole everything from my world. And he thinks back to his father's words when he's like, have you seen Ostinians carry out these evil deeds? Yeah, I have. Again, this is an image that you can see in history. That history also tends to repeat itself if people choose to deny it. But these images that you can, I believe I've seen actual real world images like this. So, but he's seen all of this stuff before. That's why he wants to make them suffer, right? He wants them to feel exactly the same way he does. And it is a great message about what war does. Because if you're just a soldier, or if you're just a person who hates, you don't actually know the truth. You actually have to go looking for the truth. Your media will lie to you. Your media will leave out things and purposely frame things to make the victims look like the aggressors, and the aggressors look like the victims. Oh, we didn't do anything wrong. And I can tell you, know a thing or two about that. At least everyone should know a thing or two about that if you pay attention. Right? But an interesting thing here is, while he says, I've seen these people do evil, I hate you, hesitates to shoot Frankie because he's going to. Apparently he might have. I think he sent a shot off before when he first initially caught up to him. But, you know, he's about to shoot Frankie, but he gets hit in the head wearing that helmet. And Frankie's like, because of your stupid gun, they know where we are. They've been chasing me because Frankie went AWOL. He's done with this. So he's like, thanks for the cigarette. You guys aren't catching me alive, which would be kind of a hint like, oh man, this dude doesn't want this. I think, I gotta say this now because I might forget later. I think Frankie is the nephew or possibly the son of the croquette lady, because she says she has family in Ostinia. The story isn't over, at least the memories. I would love to see Frankie's memories or Lloyd's memories. How did he become an informant, especially since he knows everything in Ostinia, the freaking police state that it is, since they're all worried about spies and stuff, and they want to cause a war so damn bad. And remember, 2 episodes, that very first episode is like, I don't like how they're doing stuff, so I'm gonna mess with them. I'm gonna rebel and I'm gonna just mess everything up. Which makes sense. I think he actually might be that lady's nephew or son, especially when he said I did too. But Loid's too angry. It could have been like, what do you mean? Yeah, but nah. So Loid runs, falls. He's even limping. He's wondering what is he doing. Now he's being sent to rear duty because he is hurt. Even show you right here. He hurt. That boy hurt. Look at that. Can't do nothing. And that event of meeting Frankie kind of feels like it is what set a lot of stuff in motion here, because he finds out his friends aren't dead. They are whole live. Because the one guy goes, are you at Pfizer? And it's them. They look exactly the same. They're just adults, right? And it's a tearful moment. General, corporal, major. We don't get their names. We get their nicknames, right? Also, he's been peeling potatoes and onions and stuff while he's on this type of rear guard duty. I think this is how he becomes good at cooking as he is. Especially later on when it's time to fix food because Bond is hungry. We see him chopping onions again like he does here. Dude knows how to cook because of what he did in, the military. But yeah, he has let go of this guilt he has because he thought leading them there is what killed them. And they left immediately after. They were chased after him after he left, talking about wanting to help with the festival. Unfortunately, some of their classmates died. I believe it is the one in the glasses, his brother died. But they're glad that he's alive. He's like, although none of us have made it above being a private, and actually Loid is actually a sergeant, right? He just wants to hang out with them again. He's like, what, are you guys have the weekend off? Unfortunately, they're being sent on a campaign called the Roberts campaign. And he's like, all right, well, when you guys get back. They ain't get back. Someone does call his fake name Loran. He's like, that's not your name. He's like, this is just a nickname they're calling me. Because again, that would blow his cover, right? And show that he's not of age. So I'm guessing he was the youngest out of those four boys. And so he heard the campaign was rushed and it was reckless. The only thing that came back was their dog tags. And their dog tags, I don't know if this is with all dog tags, because the dog tags they show us don't really look like this, but this part can be snapped off so that if they die, the person is dead, right? And so that's the only thing that came back was their dog tags. And he's wondering, had he known about the plan, could he have stopped them? If he had known the enemy's movements, would he been able to get them to stop the campaign? And we do get to see, men sleeping outside, drinking, just kind of day to day. He's even cleaning his weapon and all, and putting it back together. But he doesn't even know how to get into such a position of power. I don't know anything. I never did. Not the real reason why this war started. And I like this speech here. This is why I wrote all this down. I believed the war wouldn't start. I believed that my friends had died in the bombing. I blindly hated the enemy. I blindly took up arms and I blindly obeyed the country. Ignorance is a weakness and it's also a sin. And I this is highlighting why he cares so much about getting information, why this is so important. As a matter of fact, look, this is them. And you just knew they were going to die. Like, you just knew. And nope, that's not part. And I like the end, just like him putting the gun down. He does fade in this picture. I like the symbolism here, but just completely, it really highlights why he is not just good at his job, but his motivation behind it. Having that info could have saved them. Poor Loid. And so, excuse me. But so he gets found out that he lied about who he was. This guy comes up looking like a literal spy. Like, trench coat and everything. Like, I'm playing Pokemon Legends ZA, like detectives, like stereotypical detective. Dude almost looks like Bogard from One Piece. I do recognize him. I didn't take a picture of this guy's face close up, but he looks like we've seen him in the organization. And he's saying, this whole world is just one huge onion. It's impossible to unravel all those lies without tears. Like, ooh, okay, all right, I see you with the one-liners. And he tells him, he's like, yeah, I'm in the military. Because Loid's like, I can't give you that because of the ration. It's like, no, I'm in the military, but this is just how I want you to see me, even though I don't have a rank insignia. It's like, what is this dude going on about? He's like, Loren Spoofy, although your real name is blank, 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 blank. He tells him, in order for you to get around the age limit, you took the name of the guy who died in your homeland. You made your way here. He's like, this is very remarkable. And it's really ironic that, your reunion with your old friends is what led you to being found out, which I'm interested. Was this guy always like there in the shadows, making sure they didn't have other spies in there? Was he always there? Or was there always someone else there going, aha, okay, that's not your real name. Cool. See how they react. Let's look into this. I mean, Loid's good at what he does, so this guy is probably great at what he does too, right? So he's not military police, he's military intelligence, and he's recruiting him. He's telling him he has a weapon. Loid has a weapon that's more worthy than a rifle, and it's intelligence. It's all about information. And in this day and age, no nation can stand to fight without it, and they are constantly shorthanded right now, right? Oops, I forgot to. Yeah, lack of info is what killed his friends. So, tells him, noon, Tuesday, get all your stuff, dress like a civilian, come out to this spot. Already told your commanders, your commanding officer. And, in his mind, Loid is like, well, gaining other weapons is not going to bring them back. No matter what. Those days, and he's remembering spending time with his friends and everything, none of that's going to come back ever again. So Loid shows up, says, I doubted that you were the real deal, but my commanding officer had no objections, and here I am. He's like, oh, you're skeptical. Good. You need to be skeptical. You need to be skeptical about everything, both good and evil, which is, it's really true. You need to look like, why? Okay. Even on good side, why is this like this? Okay. Well, why is that like that? Okay. Yeah. Just saying. So he took all his belongings and threw it in the barrel fire. It's like, yeah, your old name, gone. Your old rank, gone. All those are done. You're going to become a shadow for the nation. He's like, well, it doesn't matter. No one remembers my name anyway. He doesn't even care about the nation. He doesn't care about winning the war. And when dude says, okay, then why are you doing all this? And kids run past him. And he just, closes his eyes and says, no particular reason. And I like that this dude goes, follow me, you little liar. Because you cannot lie to a spy. A spy can find the lie if he a good spy. Then he meets Handler. And this is when this dream, because it was all a dream. When he meets Handler, Sylvia, she's like, yeah, I'm going to turn you into a top rank information official, even through any means necessary, including harsh means. And this is when it gets funny. We're finally getting funny because this, he spirals in a circle. Oh, God, no. Like Super Mario 2. Was it 2 or 3? Yeah, Super Mario 2. Wakes up. And he's remembering all this stuff. He's like, memories filled with dust, blood, dust, and the smell of gunpowder. Like, dude, woke up sleep. You ever had a dream like that? Like or a nightmare like that? Just has you waking up in a cold sweat. But what's really cute about it is because Anya, he's like, did Papa have a bad dream? He's like, I don't remember. She kind of reads his mind a little bit, and this is adorable. Like, I'm sorry, that is cute. That is cute. Pats her dad on the head, and he's like, hey, you stop that now. You stop that, Nelly. And he's like, why am I asleep on the couch? And it turns out last episode, the first part leads into this. You fainted when Anya told you I got a Trinitis bolt. And he's like, Papa is a demon. It's like literally in Japanese, it's Chi is a Oni. It's like, okay, that's funny. And he's like, I'm not even mad yet. And she flat. Now this is a good expression to remember for Anya. This is how we know when she's serious. He's like, Anya is sorry that she's such a failure. And he pauses for a minute when he looks at her and he's like, but you said you got closer with Damien, right? And she's like, yeah, I did. She's like, yeah, plan B is still a go. And Loid is, he remembers his friends. And he's like, that's good. Take good care of your friends. And they just got that, all up in the feels. And then that's when we get silly and we do the cooking and bond. By the way, y'all know Heinz ketchup and mustard? They have Hiones. Look at get out of here. Hiones. What is that? Hiones, really? Anyway. Oh yeah, then he yells at Bond, tell Bond that he cannot eat an onion and Yor's gonna make food for Bond. I feel so bad for that dog. That dog gonna die. But yeah, oh damn, that's such a damn good episode. Just perfect. It makes a lot of sense because his dad was heavy on him, having education, learning, and not fighting the war. He's heavy on Anya having an education, like his dad, but it's for the mission. But at the same time, he doesn't want her to feel like a failure. He's like, well, you got closer to your friend, then that's all that matters. He's doing it so no other child can go through what he went through. I feel like he said that before. And if he didn't, and if I'm spoiling something, it is not really a spoiler. If you're smart, you can pay attention to that. Next episode is Behind the Scandal and the Path to an Imperial Scholar. It looks like an interesting one. I doubt if it's going to be as good as this. This is a 5 out of 5 must see. Please watch last week's episode and watch this episode if you have not. This is good stuff. Even though I have talked for 32 minutes, you need to watch this for yourself. This is good stuff. Art imitating life, man. Art imitating life. This is 5 out of 5, possibly one of the best episodes, showing why this show is one of the best animes. Just the funny parts aren't abrupt. They come in naturally. They come in so well, and it tells a story and it teaches a lesson at the same time. It's, even though he has seen what those people can do and have done, he really still doesn't know the hearts of the people. Because then you meet somebody like Frankie that's like, this has lost me everything, and all this whole war is dumb. Like, we don't even know why we're actually fighting. What is the real reason we're actually fighting? And I like it. I like this adds stakes to why he's trying to prevent that war, why he's trying to stop Damien's dad, Desmond, from starting a whole war all over again, because they went through that. They don't want that anymore. So we believe in you, Twilight. Let me know what you think of this episode, please. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell right there so you can be notified of more videos like this one, more reviews like this one. Share the video, and if you want to support me even further, my Patreon link is in the description below. Please be good, be blessed, be safe. All right, drink some water, wash your hands, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, please don't be a jerk. We have way too many of those roaming the streets nowadays, if you get my drift. So if you're feeling down and out, please make sure you reach out to someone, talk to someone. There are people that rather talk to you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow. I guarantee it. Want to talk to me? My social media is in the description below as well. Give me a follow, give me a hello, be mellow, and we be good to go. All right. Until next time, I'm looking forward to next week. Next week episode might be a little late, but you'll get them. Be safe out there, y'all. Waku waku.